15th of November, when the runoff is expected to take place. The ruling Unity Party is also backing the legal challenge after accusing President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf of interfering in the election on the 10th of October by holding private meetings with election magistrates. President Johnson Sirleaf denied that the meeting was inappropriate, just as international observers like the European Union and the Carter Center have said that they saw no major problems with the first round votes. Libya's Coast Guard has intercepted nearly 300 migrants from sub-Saharan African countries on 2 rubber boats east of Tripoli. Officials said the migrants were intercepted near the town of Zliten by one of the several Coast Guard vessels that were repaired and delivered to Libya by the Italian government. The efforts by Libya's Coast Guard is due to pressure from Italy and other European countries to check the use of the country as a smuggling hub for people fleeing conflict and hardship in sub-Saharan Africa. And that was the news update on your premium talk station, Today 95.1 FM. I, Debbie Adebanjo. Many thanks for listening. Stay tuned. Today's Hustle comes up next with Eric Baroni.
Today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues, today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Radio has never been this good. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt.
Every day on Today 95.1 FM, there's always an opportunity to comment and air your views on our various programs. It's not just about us. It's about you, your opinion, and your voice.
President, don't you think that it's time to step down, sir?
Be part of the story, the gist, reactions, intrigues, and the news.
President Neil Patrick Harris has called for greater regulation.
Give us a feedback or join the conversation on Twitter at TodayFM951. Our Facebook address is Today95.1 FM, or join us on the number 0701-933-9962. That's our WhatsApp application. Be informed, be educated, and have fun. We are Today 95.1 FM, voice of the people.
Is beautiful. This message is powered by your premium talk radio, Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people. The voice of the people.
Is a situation where there is no war or violence in a society. Peace allows wealth to accumulate and the society to advance.
Through peace, generations of wealth, education, technology can build up, thereby making people very prosperous and happy.
Without peace, there will be violence, war, and underdevelopment in our society. The most disadvantageous peace is far better than the most just war. Let us embrace peace for a better society.
This message is brought to you by your premium talk radio, Today 95.1 FM.
It's what I pray for. All around the world. It's what I pray for.
Did you know that the Nigerian Environmental Studies/Action Team NEST says human beings are the major contributory factors to the climate change that has become our new reality? Our activities are unfavorable to the environment. Our daily work and behavior domestically, industrially, and even in agriculture are threatening the quality of the environment as well as the balance of the ecosystem. We often burn bushes to farm. We practice agriculture without due regard to the environment. We fell trees without knowing that we are altering the ecosystem and nature. All these human activities are threatening the nature, and at the end, we ourselves are to face the consequences. Soil erosion, desertification, bush burning, ocean upsurge, deforestation, land degradation are on the increase daily in the country. Climate change is one of the major consequences of human abuses to the environment and nature. Stop bush burning. Stop indiscriminate felling of trees. Take care of your environment and save lives today. This message is brought to you by your premium talk radio, Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Wow, baby, I love what I'm singing. Let's go have some fun. Me and you together.
You have protection.
No, I don't have protection.
Have you checked the HIV status?
Come on, I don't womanize. I'm a clean guy.
Today, HIV and AIDS is a major global health emergency affecting all regions of the world, causing millions of deaths and sufferings. It is the leading infectious cause of adult death in the world, and about 19 million out of the 35 million people living with HIV globally do not know their HIV status. This has led to delayed treatments, spread of the virus, wrong decisions about their health, and ultimately death. You cannot protect yourself or the health of others if you don't know what to look out for. Be informed about your health and your future. Be responsible about your sex life. Get tested and know your status today. This message is brought to you by Today95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Yesterday, like every other day, I had it all, but now it's all gone.
Please listen to this announcement. The general listening audience of Today 95.1 FM is hereby assured of their right to quality broadcasting and therefore in compliance to the provisions of Section 13, Subsection 5, Subsection 1, A to C of the NBC Act. Propose that during the process of broadcasting here on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, you, our dear listener, may avail yourselves the opportunity to lay any complaints you may have on any broadcast material or conduct of broadcasting style on the station to us by sending your complaints to info@todayfmlive.com or locate the closest office of our regulators, the National Broadcasting Commission, nearest to you, or please call 0704-010-1500 or send an email to NBC Port Harcourt office. That's nbcphoffice@yahoo.com.
Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
The hustle is real. And on Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people, we bring you trending topics, burning issues.
That the office is supposed to be occupied by a military person. And he's here, he's not a military man. And he's analyzing it and he's arguing that point. How then do I take you seriously?
From politics, national, social, economic issues of human interest.
You have not even been able to have law and order in your society before you start talking of international relations. What are you relating?
And much more. We talk to the major players, stakeholders, and those in the know, covering the length and breadth of the country and beyond on Today's Hustle.
Even the universities, as we speak, have lost confidence in JAMB. That's why they carry out their own test.
Every weekday from 1 to 3 p.m. only on Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people. 17 minutes past the hour of 1 o'clock on your premium talk news and sports radio. Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt's voice of the people. Today, Wednesday, the very first day of the new month of November 2017. It's today's hustle, and I am Eric Baroni. Of course, we will be taking a look at that trending topic. We will be talking to the analysts, we'll be talking to the experts, those in the know, but most especially, we will be talking to those directly or indirectly affected by whatever it is we are talking about in the first place. But before we can do any of that, let's take a glimpse at other trending issues making the rounds this Wednesday afternoon. Starting off with this one, where President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed satisfaction over the phenomenal improvement of Nigeria's recent ranking of the World Bank released earlier this week. Besides moving up 24 places, the nation is also reported to be amongst the top 10 reformers globally. The president congratulated all Nigerians on the significant development which symbolizes the real success achieved by the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, PEBEC, the National Assembly and the state government in making it easy for people to register businesses speedily, obtain licenses and approvals from government agencies without unnecessary bureaucratic bottlenecks. He also says it reflects the collective efforts of all to make it easy for foreign business visitors to obtain visas and do their businesses with ease and speed. The nation's commander-in-chief used the opportunity to commend his second-in-command and chairman of the PEDEC, Professor Yemi Osibajo. Another issue making the rounds this afternoon, President Muhammadu Buhari says he would like Nigerians to remember him as a leader that met a vandalized Nigeria and reset the buttons on almost all areas of national life, politically, socially, economically, locally, and giving the nations a good international image. The president says his government would not rest on its oars until the rots created in the nation's political space by the preceding government were cleared. Buhari, who stated this in an interview at the current edition of the African Economy, said he inherited a vandalized Nigerian economy in 2015 and has been working hard to fix it before exiting from office. He opined that his administration would be remembered as the government that put Nigeria on the path of food self-sufficiency and had enough to export, stressing that the economy would be diversified and made resilient to crashes in oil prices in the international market. According to him, his administration would bequeath a secured land within and without and give Nigerians a pride of place locally and internationally. Taking a look at another trending issue this afternoon, founder of the God's Ministry International Incorporated, Warri Delta State, Evangelist Samson Mamamu, feels President Muhammadu Buhari should use recovered loot to build roads and bridges alongside other developmental pursuits in all regions of the country. Mamamu made the appeal over the weekend during the 41st Annual Spiritual Convention of the Church at Salvation City, Warri. The cleric says bridges and roads would improve the standard of living of the people, adding that it would also bring socio-economic development, especially to the Niger Delta region. He also used the opportunity to counsel the president to adopt other methods of fighting corruption if the present method he is using is not productive. This trending story reads, reports say a Second Republic Vice President, Dr. Alex Ekweme, collapsed and is currently at the intensive care unit of the Memphis Hospital of Neurosurgery in Trans-Ikulu, Enugu State. Ekweme collapsed in the early hours of last Saturday at his residence in Independence Layout, Enugu. The development comes barely 10 days after he celebrated his 85th birthday. Family sources say the former vice president went into coma soon after he collapsed, adding that he was trying to get something from the table when he suddenly collapsed.
An application filed by former President Goodluck Jonathan before the Federal High Court in Abuja has revealed further reasons why he wants to be excused from appearing as a witness in defense of a former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Olise Metu. Of course, that's another of the trending issues we are taking a glimpse at this afternoon. The former president, in his motion challenging the subpoena issued on him, stated, and I quote, that with several attempts by some persons in the current dispensation to harass, intimidate and rubbish his reputation and that of his wife, the witness summons issued on him upon Metu's request was a ploy to drag his name in the mud. He also argued in the motion filed on behalf by his lawyer, Chief Michael Zekome-San, on Monday, that his testimony being sought in Metu's trial would not only amount to an invasion of his right of privacy, but would also expose him to a criminal charge, penalty or forfeiture. Jonathan recalls that there had been attempts to seize properties and bank accounts of his wife, patients, her relatives, and her pet non-governmental organization. As an alternative prayer, the motion sought an order directing Metu to deposit with the court for Jonathan the sum of 1 billion naira to cover traveling expenses for himself and his security personnel from his hometown, Otuoke, in Bayelsa State to Abuja. He further argued that the subpoena was vague and applied for and obtained on frivolous grounds. Metu is standing trial on charges involving, amongst others, the 400 million naira received from the Office of the National Security Advisor in 2014, allegedly by Metu. At Tuesday's proceedings, Metu's lawyer, Emeka Itie-Basan, told Justice Okon Abang that his client's request to call Jonathan as a witness had been misconstrued outside the court. He said, pained by it, his client would sit with the legal team to review the motion filed by Ozekome on behalf of Jonathan in order to take a position on it. According to him, efforts by the first defendant, Metu, to avail himself of necessary evidence in his trial has been misconstrued outside the court, and the first defendant feels very pained because of the dangerous insinuation that had been ascribed to his decision to call evidence that would help him go through this phase of his life. Meanwhile, the trial judge, Justice Okon Abang, fixed today for the hearing of Jonathan and Dasuki's motion. "24 minutes past the hour of 1 o'clock. Still taking a look at other trending issues making the rounds Wednesday afternoon. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo-San yesterday accused the elite as well as religious leaders across the geopolitical zones of frustrating the fight against corruption in Nigeria. Osinbajo accused the political, business and religious leaders of selfishness, saying they refuse to make sacrifices either in service or self-restraint. The vice president, represented by the Asarok chaplain, Sheikh Joseph, said this in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital, during the dedication and commissioning of the 10,000-seater ecumenical center constructed by the administration of Henry Siriake Dixon. Now, according to Osinbajo, corruption, tribalism, religion, and other parochial tendencies remained impediments to the growth of Nigeria as a nation. To build a new Nigeria, Osinbajo canvassed a new tribe of men and women of all faiths, tribes, and ethnicity who are committed to a country administered on high values of integrity, hard work, justice, and patriotism. Also making the rounds this Wednesday afternoon, the Senate yesterday said it is worried over the poor health of care system and inadequate maintenance of government-owned hospitals across the country. To improve the worsening healthcare condition, the Senate has mandated the federal government through the Ministries of Finance and Budget to prioritize the sector and quickly release the 308 million naira budgetary allocations for the nation's health sector in the current fiscal year. Amongst other resolutions, the lawmakers charged the Ministry of Health to ensure efficiency in healthcare services and maintain a high standard of healthcare delivery service within the country through periodic training, hospital inspections. It further mandated the Senate Committee on Health to investigate, probe and request the audit of federal government-owned hospitals, and also charged all federal government-owned hospitals to provide quality management through continuous evaluation. The demand of the Senate followed an adoption of a motion by Senator Monsurat Shomonu, APC, Oyo Central. Still taking a look at legislative matters making the rounds this afternoon, Senate President Bukola Saraki also yesterday pledged the cooperation of the National Assembly with the executive to ensure better administration of the country. Saraki gave the indication when he fielded questions from State House correspondents after an interactive dinner hosted by President Muhammadu Buhari in honor of principal officers of the National Assembly in Abuja. According to him, the event is not just a meeting, but to honor the invitation of the President to the National Assembly officers to interact with him since he returned from medical vacation. The Senate President added that this was the first time for such interaction with the leadership of the National Assembly. On the 2018 appropriation bill, Saraki stated that its presentation laid in the hands of the executive, but we would receive it when we are ready, he was quoted as saying. He said both the National Assembly and the executive would work together in ensuring the passage of the bill in December this year. Still taking a look at trending issues making the rounds this afternoon is this one that reads, Osun State Governor Rauf Aregbesola recently said that the activities of oil thieves during the administration of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) of former President Goodluck Jonathan wrecked the Nigerian economy, leading to recession. Aregbesola stated this while receiving the members of the House of Representatives Committee on Basic Education and Services, who paid him a courtesy visit at the Government House, Oshogbo, in Osun State. The governor also pointed out that his administration, which had received unwarranted attacks from the media, is making the best of a bad economic situation in its handling of workers' salaries in the state. The governor's assertion came on the heels of issues of teachers' poor welfare highlighted by a member of the committee, Honorable Kehinde Agbola, who led the lawmakers on the visit. He said that his administration was paying salaries as at when due, including paying up to the 13th month before the dip in the financial fortunes of the state. According to him, the administration had received lots of negative media comments, but rarely responded, not because they did not know what to say, but simply because they didn't see any reason why the government would join issues with people in the media when the facts are different from the pictures that are actually being painted. He explained further that his administration had to, in the face of the financial challenges, borrow money and came up with a rotational way of applying its meager resources in order to maximize results. And of course, on that note, we would have to draw curtains on this part of your Wednesday afternoon on today's hustle, as we will be making way for business update with Debbie Adebanjo. When we return, we will be delving into our topic of discourse for this afternoon on today's hustle. Stay tuned.
Radio has never been this good. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM. Whether it's happening in Port Harcourt, South, Nigeria, or around the world, we've got you covered. On air, online, delivering balanced news and unbiased analysis. Today, 95.1 FM.
Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
Good afternoon and welcome to Business Update on your premium talk station, Today 95.1 FM. I am Debbie Adibanjo. The Naira yesterday depreciated to 360.83 per dollar in the investor and exporters INE foreign exchange window, even as Nigeria's external reserves hit $33.66 billion. Data from the Financial Market Dealers Quote (FMDQ) showed that the indicative exchange rate for the INE window, known as Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange (NAFEX), depreciated to 360.83 per dollar yesterday from Monday's closing rate, which stood at 360.61 per dollar, translating to a 22 kobo loss in the Naira's value. Meanwhile, the Naira in the parallel market stabilized at 363 per dollar for the 8th consecutive business day. Also, in a related development, external reserves hit $33.66 billion last week, and data from the CBN showed that the reserves have maintained an upward trend from $32.49 billion recorded at the end of September to $33.66 billion, which was the value as at Wednesday last week, indicating a $1.17 billion increase within the month. Meanwhile, the nation earned 797.52 billion naira as revenue from value-added tax (VAT) between January and October 2017. The Minister of Finance, Mrs. Kemi Adeosu, has said. The figure, according to a statement by Special Advisor Media and Communications to the Minister of Finance, Mr. Oloyinka Akintunde in Abuja yesterday, represents 46.15% of the 2017 VAT budget of 1.728 trillion naira as captured in the 2017 budget. It was, however, an indication of a 19.78% increase over the corresponding period of 2016. And the minister, who released the details of the 2017 VAT collection yesterday in Abuja, said the highest VAT collection of 86.71 billion naira was achieved in September 2017, while 84.64 billion and 83.315 billion were recorded in May and October respectively, and the lowest VAT earning of 69.02 billion naira was also in March 2017. And according to the sharing formula among the three tiers of government, the federal government gets 15% of VAT revenue, while the states and local governments receive 50% and 35% respectively. Adeosu reiterated the current administration's commitment to aggressively growing the tax revenue base to drive economic growth. She was quoted as saying revenue mobilization is key to national growth and critical to the success of Nigeria's economic reform agenda. We have an unacceptable low level of non-oil revenue, and much of that is driven by a failure to collect tax revenues. With a tax to gross domestic product ratio of only 6%, which is one of the lowest levels in the world, we have a lot of work to do if we're going to build a sustainable revenue base that will deliver inclusive growth. Improving VAT and other tax collections is key to Nigeria's revenue strategy. She added that the country's revenue strategy to improve tax through the voluntary assets and income declaration scheme VADE to a broader tax base, and credited to the AFDB Vice President for Power, Energy, Climate and Green Growth, Amadu Holt. The African Development Bank is highly encouraged by the economic recovery of Nigeria from recession and salutes the government's efforts towards diversification of the economy. The bank also strongly supports the economic growth recovery plan of the government and efforts to stem corruption and strengthen fiscal consolidation and efficiency. In November 2016, the board of the African Development Bank approved a $600 million loan to support Nigeria's efforts to cope with macroeconomic and fiscal shocks that arose from the massive decline in the price of crude oil. An addition of $400 million in support could be considered if requested and approved by the board as part of the larger coordinated efforts with other development partners, including the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. Meanwhile, the African Development Bank is in consultations with the government on how best to continue its support for the laudable economic growth recovery plan through investments as well. And this investments project will also help address existing structural challenges, including infrastructure, power, agriculture, and support to boost private sector and job creation. The bank assures the Nigerian government, of its full support of its continued reforms to diversify the economy and boost economic growth and development. The MTN on Tuesday called the $4.2 billion claim by Turkcell in the South African court over a disputed Iranian mobile phone license opportunist and baseless. And that's what the company said on Tuesday after filing a defense plea. Turkcell first sued MTN in the U.S. court in 2012, alleging the company used bribery and wrongful influence to win a lucrative Iranian license that was originally awarded to Turkcell. They dropped the suit in 2013 after the U.S. Supreme Court ruling in a separate case made it clear that the U.S. courts would not have jurisdiction in a claim involving two foreign firms in an overseas dispute. And in 2016, it filed in South Africa, where the case has been stuck in procedural wrangling since. Turkcell's claim is opportunist and abuse of the process of court, baseless and without merit, MTN said in a statement after filing a defense plea. And Turkcell was also not immediately available to comment. But also should be noted that MTN obtained the license in Iran in 2005 and maintains that Turkcell missed out because it would not comply with an Iranian rule that caps the sharing holding on the license at 49%. Iran is MTN's largest market out of the 22 countries the company operates in. And MTN previously appointed a retired British judge to lead an external investigation into Turkcell's allegations that probe dismissed the accusations as a fabric of lies, distortions, and interventions. Manufacturers of cocoa beverages appear to be hard-pressed to refocus their route to market strategies in the face of growing uncertainties of consumers' loyalty. Rising prices of the products, inflationary pressure on consumers' purchasing power, as well as increasing demand for value in brand promises, may have moved manufacturers in this direction. Some of the manufacturers have also moved into the 3-in-1 cocoa sugar milk infusion to penetrate the market. A new trend manufacturers claim to be saving consumers the hassles of looking for the ingredients separately before having their tea. The major cocoa beverage brands in the market involved in this hustle include Bonvita for the production line of Cadbury Nigeria, Milo manufactured by Nestle Nigeria PLC, Ovaltine produced by Twinning Nigeria, Cowbell Choco manufactured by Promosido Nigeria, Horlicks produced by GlaxoSmithKline Consumer PLC, and Oleju Pure Cocoa Powder, a local competitor in the market. Of the above, the battle for the market share has reduced the contenders to 4, of which 3 are positioned as mass market brand, and these are Bonvita, Milo, and Ovaltine. However, competition heightened in the mass market with the entrance of locally produced cocoa beverages, some of which are without known names, basically consumed in the northern part of Nigeria. The industry leaders also noted that the rise in urban production, population, and increase in market size in recent years have contributed to the boosting consumption of cocoa beverage. The beverage companies have also used the direct marketing tactics to reach their target markets while devising innovative packaging and offering additional sachet pack to drive patronage of bigger size product packs. Also, unrelated products such as exercise books and other consolation prizes have been attached to some packs of the products. The stock exchange market for today, topping the advances list is Mobil, last closing at 155, currently trading at 161 with a change of 6. Flour Mill, last closing at 31.5, currently trading at 32.11, last closing with a change of 0.61. Dangote Sugar, also on the list, last closing at 15, currently trading at 15.22 with a change of 0.22. Also topping the decliners list is Interbrew, last closing at 48.99, currently trading at 46.55 with a difference of 2.44. Nestle also on the list, last closing at 1,252, currently trading at 1,250 with a difference of 2. Cadbury is also on the list, last closing at 10.5, currently trading at 10.06 with a difference of 0.44. business update on your premium talk station, Today 95.1 FM. I am Debbie Adebanjo. Many thanks for listening and good afternoon. Stay tuned. Today's hustle continues with Eric Baroni.
Are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Every day on Today 95.1 FM, there's always an opportunity to comment and air your views on our various programs. It's not just about us. It's about you, your opinion, and your voice.
President, don't you think that it's time to step down, sir?
Be part of the story, the gist, reactions, intrigues, and the news.
President Neil Patrick Harris has called for greater regulation.
Give us a feedback or join the conversation on Twitter at TodayFM951. Our Facebook address is Today95.1 FM, or join us on the number 0701-933-9962. That's our WhatsApp application. Be informed, be educated, and have fun. We are Today 95.1 FM, voice of the people.
Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
The hustle is real. And on Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people, we bring you trending topics, burning issues.
That the office is supposed to be occupied by a military person. And he's here, he's not a military man. And he's analyzing it, and he's arguing that point. How then do I take you seriously?
From politics, national, social, economic issues of human interest.
You have not even been able to have law and order in your society before you start talking of international relations. What are you relating?
And much more. We talk to the major players, stakeholders, and those in the know, covering the length and breadth of the country and beyond on Today's Hustle.
Even the investors, as we speak, have lost confidence in JAMB. That's why they carry out their own test.
Every weekday from 1 to 3 p.m. only on Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people. Minutes to the top of the hour, 2 o'clock on your premium talk news and sports radio, Today 95.1 FM, and you are welcome to the continuation of the program. We brought you Business Update with Debbie Adebanjo. It's now time for us to delve into our topic of discourse for this afternoon. Now, there are reports that the embattled former chairman of the Pensions Reform Task Team, Abdul Rashid Maina, has recounted efforts made by his team to put an end to fraudulent activities in pensions.
Maina, who spoke through his media aide Olajide Fashikun in Kaduna, asked President Muhammadu Buhari to investigate the sleaze, including an offshore account with £6 million, estimated to be about 2.41 billion naira, where top government functionaries are still drawing interests. The former chairman, who is currently on the run, also alleged that he was being persecuted for putting a stop to the monthly siphoning of 5.32 billion naira from the Office of the Head of Service and Nigeria Police Pension Office. Maina noted that the allegations against him and the attendant media trial were part of efforts by those he described as pension thieves to stop him from exposing them. According to him, the presidential investigation is imperative to exposing the real pension thieves, some of whom are highly placed public office holders. Maina stressed that his task team had nothing to hide as they saved the country about 208 billion naira from June of 2010 when it was constituted. He said, and I quote, "Between the head of service and the police pension office, the two places PRTT worked, a leakage of 5.32 billion naira was stopped per month. This is what civil servants steal monthly in the two offices out of the 99 pension offices in the country. 43 persons were arrested and handed over to the EFCC to prosecute, while 202 houses were seized from them." As soon as Maina was driven to exile before the coming of the PTAD, 35 billion naira was stolen in the head of service office. The ICPC did not come out with a report. How come nobody is talking about these monies? In the current media trial, where all manner of stories have been published, there has been a lot of distortion of facts and sometimes outright blackmail, all in an attempt to paint the PRTT boss black, like Lucci. Now, after the biometric exercise, there were 71,000 genuine workers in the police pension office who needed 826 million naira to pay them, unlike the 5.3 billion naira appropriated for them annually. They were pocketing 4.2 billion naira yearly. They had devised several ingenious ways to pull these cash out. They pulled out an average of 300 million naira daily, Monday to Friday. There are bank alerts to substantiate these assertions. There is a particular person who has 69 cloned versions of his name on the payroll. Bank officials were in cohort. Names of dead pensioners were exhumed from the dead and paid pension. Accounts were created with fictitious names. The agents who do the multiple collections of these monies from banks get 5% of the volume collected. One of the folks caught then was paid via 3 accounts in June of 2011. The sums of 7.7 million naira, 17.4 million naira, and 17.2 million naira. He got 5% for pulling the cash. He confessed when EFCC officials arrested him. In petition, one of Taidi's aides made to the EFCC and the ICPC, Mr. Taidi had said he paid the money to a senator in foreign currency and that the bribe was meant to prevent their prosecution. He told investigators that he equally bribed a former chairman of the EFCC. Why has the two anti-graft agencies not investigated this matter? Why are they after the man who caught the thieves and not after the thieves themselves? Now, he also stressed that there has been a lot of deliberate cover in the well-written script to give Maina a bad name. Some of those who worked in the PRTT do kabu-kabu to augment the survival. They were severely starved of funds. Maina's PRTT was a clog in the wheel of so many who were looting the pensioners' funds. Of course, so many questions are generated from this statement credited to Abdul Rashid Maina, the wanted former chairman of the Presidential Task Force on Pension Reforms. But the question is, if all these allegations are true as regards to monies that are still being diverted even under the present administration, then why is the focus just on me now? And if indeed he is innocent of all the allegations that have been made against him, why is he then on the run? Of course, he did state that though there are people who want him out of the picture, there are those, he alleges that there are those who would want to assassinate him because of information that he has on the true nature of how that much money, which has been linked to him as a former chairman of the Presidential Task Force on Pension Reforms, is actually more to it than what has been heard thus far. He has, of course, said that he would reveal that there have been accounts created that are still existing that he would want to reveal, but he is afraid for his life. We, of course, we will be taking a look at all the questions raised based on the comments he had made in his statement, but that is when we will be coming back after this short hiatus where we bring you a paid-for program. The news update comes up at 2 o'clock. When we return, we will be delving into the substance of today's topic.
Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
The land is green, it's green, oh, oh.
Hello, welcome to The Green Way of Life, a program designed to inform and discuss God's idea of environment and development. In order to prompt us to action, please join Honorable Victoria Wobo-Nyeche, the member representing Port Harcourt Constituency 1, River State House of Assembly, and be a Green Ambassador.
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Green Way of Life. Today we shall be talking about something that most people don't like talking about: toilets. Yes, we shall be talking about toilets. Dear Green Ambassador, do you know there is a World Toilet Day? The 19th of November every year has been designated by the United Nations General Assembly as World Toilet Day. A day set aside to inspire concrete action to tackle the global sanitation crisis of about 4.5 billion people. Yes, 4.5 billion people of their waste. It's a household toilet that can safely dispose of their waste. As humans, we eat to stay alive, and it is also important that we must excrete our waste to stay healthy. The method of waste disposal is a differentiating factor between humans and animals, as well as between the developed and the developing countries. Dear Green Ambassador, if we must achieve the Sustainable Development Goal number 6, which is aimed at ensuring the availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all, we must have good and accessible toilets. One of the targets is to reduce by half the proportion of untreated wastewater and increase the recycling and the reuse of treated wastewater. In Port Harcourt alone, the menace of indiscriminate disposal of human waste is a serious one. There are increasing cases of human waste being disposed alongside household refuse or being disposed in the drains. This is unacceptable. This should be discouraged. The right to a toilet is a human right. It is a right to dignity. Every household is expected to have one. Unfortunately, most temporary houses used by the very low-income earners are built without toilets, and the residents have very few options open to them. The relevant authorities of urban and planning are expected to ensure that every property meets regulation, not only during planning, but also during construction. As a government, the construction of public toilets in strategic locations will go a long way towards curbing this madness. Governance is all about the welfare of people, the welfare of every person, including the disadvantaged in the society. The treatment of sewage before disposal should be enforced and defaulters brought to book. This is a step in the right direction. Dear Green Ambassador, do you know that when you provide a toilet, we are not only solving a sanitation problem, we are also solving a health problem. This is so because unsanitary disposal of human waste leads to several waterborne infections, such as diarrhea and typhoid. This can lead to epidemic and result in loss of life. This is therefore a call to action, not just for the government, but for every well-meaning individual. There is something we can do. Let's create awareness. Let's build our houses properly. Let's treat our sewage before disposal. Let's support government. Let's support the building of sewage treatment facilities. It is for our good. Remember, if you want to do a thing, you will find a way. If you don't, you will find an excuse. The Green Ambassador, don't find an excuse. Find a way. Thank you.
That has been the Green Way of Life with Honorable Victoria Nyeche. Until the program comes your way next time, remember, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes out of the mouth of God. For comments or questions, send your SMS to 080-372-39535 or 090-564-21920 or email notbybreadaloneministry@gmail.com. Thank you for your time and please be a Green Ambassador.
Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today, 95.1 FM, the voice of the people. Radio has never been this good. Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. This is Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today, 95.1 FM.
Today, 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. News update.
Good afternoon. Here is the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Eric Baroni. Former Minister of Petroleum Resources Dezani Alice Madueke has lost her bid to have the federal government facilitate her repatriation from the United Kingdom. Alice Madueke is wanted in Nigeria in connection with alleged money laundering involving 450 million naira, but Justice Rilwan Aikawa of the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos ruled that her request was misconceived and a misuse of the court process. Justice Aikawa upheld the argument of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC, adding that Alice Madueke had not been listed as a defendant in the case. The court also acknowledged that the former petroleum minister was currently on bail in the UK for several financial crimes investigations, and her bid for repatriation to Nigeria could be a ploy to escape justice. The Department of State Services, DSS, has produced former National Security Advisor, retired Colonel Sambu Dasuki, in court to testify in the corruption trial of former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Olisa Metu. The failure to produce Dasuki had stalled the trial before the Federal High Court in Abuja, following which Justice Okong Abang adjourned the case by 1 day to enable the DSS comply with the subpoena. Dasuki had, through his lawyer Ahmed Raji, also asked for a stay of proceedings on the matter pending the determination on a motion before the Court of Appeal. Former President Goodluck Jonathan, who was also subpoenaed by court, has, through his counsel, Chief Mike Ozekome, applied to set aside the court order. Members of the National Executive Committee of the All Progressives Congress rose from their meeting at the National Secretariat with a vote of confidence in the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. However, the APC NEC meeting did not take any motion to adopt President Buhari for a second term in office, which was shouted by an unidentified voice within the crowd. The National Publicity Secretary of the APC, Bolaji Abdullahi, gave this indication while briefing newsmen at the end of the meeting. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Yakubu Dogara, also confirmed what happened during the meeting, including plans to drive membership registration nationwide. Meanwhile, President Muhammadu Buhari has hinted about the appointment of additional ministers into his cabinet soon. The president also hinted he would soon make board appointments for federal agencies and corporations. President Buhari gave the hint in his speech at the National Executive Council of the All Progressives Congress, APC. He said the new appointments would expand the Federal Executive Council to accommodate fresh ideas. River State Governor Nyesom Wike has joined other world leaders to advocate for the development of cities that are proper for human habitation. Such cities integrate environmental integrity, economic prosperity and cultural vibrancy as championed by the International Green Model City Initiative. Speaking on Tuesday in New York, United States, during a conference to mark this year's World Cities Day, Governor Wike said the River State government was committed to progressively providing infrastructure and social services that would enhance living standards of the people. Governor Wike agreed with 11 other speakers at the forum that the basic concept of the initiative is to create a city that is designed with consideration of environmental impact. He commended the Global Forum on Health Settlements for the session and thanked the speakers for their very incisive and thought-provoking presentations. The River State Governor said what was left is to intensify the campaign for a successful global buy-in to city development planning and implementation across the globe. You will recall that Governor Wike had on Monday night been honored with the Global Human Settlements Outstanding Contribution Award. The Senate has commended the federal government and the people of Nigeria over the World Bank report on ease of doing business. This followed a point of order raised by Deputy Senate Leader Senator Bala Na'ala, calling on the Senate to take legislative notice of the feat by Nigeria. Senator Na'ala stressed that the Senate contributed immensely to the World Bank ranking through its legislative interventions at various points. And finally, the Supreme Court in Liberia has stopped the process of presidential election runoff based on allegations of fraud. The presidential runoff between George Weah and incumbent Vice President Joseph Boakai was billed to hold next week, but the third-place candidate in the first round approached the Supreme Court to claim vote rigging. Charles Brumskin's Liberal Party and the Elections Commission are expected to file briefs by tomorrow at the latest, but it is not clear if the court would rule before the 7th of November, when the runoff is expected to take place. The ruling Unity Party is also backing the legal challenge after accusing President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf of interfering in the election on the 10th of October by holding private meetings with election magistrates. President Johnson Sirleaf denied that the meeting was inappropriate, just as international observers like the European Union and the Carter Center have said that they saw no major problems with the first round vote. And that's the news update at 2 o'clock on your premium talk news and sports radio, Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Join us at 3 o'clock for more news updates. Thanks for listening and good afternoon.
Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
Every day on Today 95.1 FM, there's always an opportunity to comment and air your views on our various programs. It's not just about us, it's about you, your opinion and your voice.
President, don't you think that it's time to step down, sir?
Be part of the story, the gist, reactions, intrigues and the news.
President Neil Patrick Harris has called for greater regulation.
Give us a feedback or join the conversation on Twitter at TodayFM951. Our Facebook address is Today95.1FM or join us on the number 0701-933-9962. That's our WhatsApp application. Be informed, be educated and have fun. We are Today 95.1 FM, voice of the people.
Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
The hustle is real. And on Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people, we bring you trending topics, burning issues.
That the office is supposed to be occupied by a military person. And he's here, he's not a military man. And he's analyzing it and he's arguing that point. How then do I take you seriously?
From politics, national, social, economic issues of human interest.
You have not even been able to have law and order in your society before you start talking of international relations. What are you relating?
And much more. We talk to the major players, stakeholders, and those in the know, covering the length and breadth of the country and beyond on Today's Hustle.
Even the investors, as we speak, have lost confidence in JAMB. That's why they carry out their own test.
Every weekday from 1 to 3 p.m. only on Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
9 minutes past the hour of 2 o'clock on your premium talk news and sports radio, Today 95.1 FM, and you are welcome to the continuation of Today's Hustle, where we are taking a look at a statement credited to the embattled former chairman of the Presidential Task Force on Pension Reform, Abdul Rashid Maina, who has of course come out to make some very daring revelations as regards to the true, according to him, true pension thieves. Now, we also told you earlier that he also recounted efforts made by his team to put an end to fraudulent activities in pensions. Now, he spoke through his media aide, Olajide Fashikun, in Kaduna, asking President Muhammadu Buhari to investigate an offshore account with £6 million, which is about 2.41 billion naira, where top government functionaries are still drawing interest. Now, the former chairman, who is currently on the run, also alleged that he was being persecuted for putting a stop to the monthly siphoning of 5.32 billion naira from the Office of the Head of Service and Nigeria Police Pensions Office. Now, Maina noted that the allegations against him and the attendant media trial were part of efforts by those he described as pension thieves to stop him from exposing them. According to him, the presidential investigation is imperative to exposing the real pension thieves, some of whom are highly placed public office holders. Maina stressed that his task team had nothing to hide as they saved the country about 2.82 billion naira from June of 2010 when it was constituted. Now, he said, and I quote, "Between the head of service and the police pension office, the two places the PRTT worked with, a leakage of 5.32 billion naira was stopped per month. This is what civil servants steal monthly in the two offices out of the 99 pension offices in the country. 43 persons were arrested and handed over to the EFCC to prosecute, while 222 houses were seized from them." Now, as soon as Maina was driven to exile before the coming of the PTAD, 35 billion naira was stolen from the head of service office. The ICPC did not come out with the report. How come nobody is talking about these monies? Of course, this has raised a lot of questions on the minds of Nigerians since this statement credited to Abdul Rashid Maina came out. And of course, it begs the question, are there other people involved in this? Because the focus has been all about Maina, how he escaped, how he came back into the country without the notice of security personnel, how he was reinstated, how he was redeployed within the the Federal Civil Service. But now, he of course has made these damning revelations. He did not mention names, fearing for his life, claiming that was the reason why he was on the run, because there were people trying to get rid of him because of the amount of information that he had as regards to the individuals, the identities of the individuals who are behind the monies regarding pensions that are still being diverted even within this present administration. We will be talking to a legal practitioner, Barrister Festus Ogbuche. He's also a constitutional lawyer and analyst, to hear his thoughts on this sudden revelation by Maina? Like one of the questions that a lot of people are asking, why now? If you know these discrepancies way back, the very first time his name was brought up in links to mismanagement of funds meant for pensioners as being the chairman of the Presidential Task Force on Pension Reforms, why did he not say anything? Why did he have to get to this point before making these revelations? And we have Barrister Festus Ogbuche with us over the phone. You are welcome. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
We are taking a look at certain revelations made by Abdul Rashid Maina through his media aid, stating a lot of revelations made as regards to the true nature of the issue of monies missing when he was chairman of the Presidential Task Force on Pension Reforms, and linking these monies that have been pinned on him to top government functionaries who he claims are still withdrawing interest from these said monies. Now, in your view, these sudden revelations made by Rashid Maina, what are your thoughts on these sudden revelations being made by him? Let's start from there.
Well, the thing is that the revelations are too late in coming. He cannot come to think that black colors at the state, simply because there's the public outcry over his promotion and the maneuvers has been done to exculpate him from any liability. As far as I'm concerned, Maina is coming too late to whatever I want to say. There are people who are threatening his life. He has run away. He hasn't gone abroad. It's enough opportunity for him to steal the beans. He didn't steal the beans until now. So who will believe it? I think the story is cock and bull. But then, if there are revelations about it, then what's the possibility for the authorities to weigh into the matter and get to know the veracity of the Maina's claims, these allegations, and the people involved? Because, I mean, if you are to tackle corruption, it has to be tackled headlong. It's a matter of going after it. Maina cannot finally tell us that it's happening to him. It's a matter of conflict of the bad name, not to hang it. He's directly involved, and he did not speak up. The matter had gone to court. He was charged alongside Orosanya and got to even enforce his fundamental rights. He was sacked. Later he was raised. After I caught that, there's a lot of water has passed through the breach, and he has been silent. Why say it now? Why did you not say it earlier, at that early stage? You know, then why is he on the run if he wants to keep it to himself? He's actually on that such threat as he's trying to paint, or the picture he's trying to paint to us Nigerians. Of course, we also have heard about this before now.
Okay, now Maina had also noted that in the statement made available by his through his media aide Olajide Fashikun, that the allegations against him and its attendant media trial were part of efforts by those he described as pension thieves to stop him from exposing them. What are your thoughts on this?
Come again?
He had stated in the statement read by his media aide, he noted that the allegations against him and the attendant media trial were part of efforts by those he described as pension thieves to stop him from exposing them.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right then. Like I did say before, in his statement, Maina noted that the allegations against him and the attendant media trial were part of efforts by those he described as pension thieves to stop him from exposing them.
I don't think so. Because the reports about his return, or his clandestine return into the country, which defies every manner of logic, because the SSS there, the EFCC, all the security authorities and the anti-corruption investigating authorities, they are all there at the airport, and the manner in which he came and in which he was quietly promoted and all that was enough to raise that kind of dust. So I don't think it is correct. If he's saying that, of course, that's blackmail. To share blackmail. What's important for him to shed himself of all the allegations of corruption? Because he was said to have stolen $2 billion naira to that tune. Did he take it or did he not take it? I mean, and from every fact on the ground, it shows that the man actually took that amount of money, and he has not been able to debunk it, only to look for subterfuge by pointing accusing fingers to some persons who he has not named. He has named them, that we know they can go after them and do the investigation. So I think he's just talking from the trick. He cannot be very correct in that direction.
Okay, now he said, according to Maina, the presidential investigation was imperative to expose the real pension thieves, some of whom he claims are highly placed public office holders. He stressed that his task team had nothing to hide, as they had saved the country at about 282 billion naira from June of 2010 when it was constituted. He said, quote, between the head of service and the police pension office, the two places the PRTT worked, a leakage of 5.32 billion naira was stopped per month. Don't you think this is something that would need to be investigated to ascertain the veracity of this statement he's making? Or should we say, oh, because Maina has, his actions have been a bit suspicious, so let's overlook these allegations that he has made? Or do you feel that they actually have merit for them to be investigated upon?
I think you're very correct there. It's a very, very credible reason to call for investigation. Thorough investigation, an overwhelming and comprehensive investigation. And it cannot be drill out his achievements or what he has done or this or that. What is important in the course of the pension investigation, the pension fund investigation of which was there, is he stealing the money? Now we have a situation of the investigator also looting. The person supposed to investigate the looters is also looting. He has not been bunked that. I don't see where he has controverted any bit of that. You know, and then to figure out how much he has saved from Nigeria, how much he has done that, was that what he was told to do? Was that his mandate? Was that within his terms of reference? No. He went to take money, and he took the money unlawfully. And that is the crux of the matter, because at the end of the day, if he now tells that he has given the impression that there are a lot of corrupt people, corrupt government officials, who have gold and all that, not really needs. But he should focus on himself. To what extent could he be saying that he's indicted or he's not indicted? What are the issues involved? How has he tried to exonerate himself from the allegations against him? He has not tried anything in that direction. So he cannot take an excuse in telling Nigerians that, look, we are able to save this when I came, I was able to achieve that. Anybody can achieve anything. It doesn't matter.
Okay, now for those of you just joining us, we are taking a look at revelations, or of course, figures being released by Maina through a statement from his media aide as regards to the certain monies that had been stolen from the pension fund and still being stolen by whom he calls pension thieves to the tune of 6 million.
Naturally. And I'm sure that the allegations against him just cropped up, they don't just come from the wind. There's no smoke without fire. So if you look at it imperatively, you discover that there are more fingers pointing at Mina than any other person. As a matter of fact, no other person has been mentioned except for Orosoya, if I'm not mistaken. You know, so he says now he is placed to begin to reel out the facts and tell people this is what happened and this is what happened, which he has not done. So I cannot be impressed. From my own understanding, I can never be impressed with his explanations. He can go and tell that to the dogs, but as far as I know, he has so much to reveal. He has that much to reveal. He should reveal it now, and this is the time to do it.
Okay, now, Barrister, we all know about how he was silently he came back into the country. He was alleged to have been abroad. He came back to the country secretly. He was secretly re-employed. He was secretly redeployed within the Ministry of Interior. And then he was sacked by the president. And before any further action could be taken, he has disappeared again. And as that now, none of the security agencies, none of the security chiefs know where he is. How does that strike you? Because there seems to be some form of conspiratorial shenanigans being played out here. No one knows where he is.
You have simply answered the question. And even the manner in which he came into the country tells a lot of story about our system of security and our idea of anti-corruption battle. a man that I understand there's a bench warrant against him for his arrest. He has a criminal matter hanging on his head like a sort of Damocles. And he just walked into the country. Really. So I think there's more to it than meet the ordinary eyes. And the government itself cannot exculpate itself from what is going on. I will not believe the Secretary of Police does not know where Mela is, or the Director of the SSS does not know where Mela is. I think that also tells us so much about what is going on. Because if you're in the hook and the government wants you out of the hook,
yes,
they can very well do it in a very, very good manner. And that's why we are saying institutions must be strengthened as much as possible if you want to take this back against corruption properly on ground. Because at the end of the day, EFCC will not go after you unless maybe somebody in the government points their fingers at you. And of course, even if you have a case to answer, the EFCC will not come after you. If you are close to the corridors of power. Apparently, that's why there's been a lot of block party here and there over this corruption battle. But I think they have not started it on a good ground at all. If a man like me now will be walking free at this moment, then anything goes in this country, as far as I'm concerned.
Now, based on this, don't you think that the allegations that he has made as regards to the true culprits that have not been, that no focus has been made on the true culprits, and with the fact that he has, there are obviously some powers that be who seem to be above the law, who are able to shield him from all forms of scrutiny, don't you think that there is some credence? Don't you think that lends some credence to his allegations that he just revealed?
It doesn't lend any credence to anybody. What is credence to me, as far as I know, is that the security agencies, the anti-corruption bodies, have left him on the hook deliberately. If it is not deliberate, they should get him arrested. Then from there, he'll now begin to tell the story.
But is it possible? Is it possible that the anti-agent? But don't you think it's possible that the anti-graft agencies, their hands are tied, because the powers that be will not enable them to act to the point where it seems as if the executive. Yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That's the point I'm making. But what I see is very clear, and you don't need any rocket science to understand that the anti-corruption agencies are hamstrung from going after Mena. Apparently, because your government from the way I see it has interest. I'm entitled to my opinion. The interest government has in it is so overwhelming that they cannot touch it. And at the end of the day, I know that this matter, they will just begin to hang it left, right, and center until it dies naturally. It won't die like that. But if the man says things like that, if he said anything like that, you start to pick him up and get him to reveal those persons who are there and those persons who are not there. But nobody is interested in picking him up. I think the fact Mr. President gave him, the fact he gave him to them was more than sufficient. You know, so it's for him to go and enjoy his food.
Okay, now a lot of
clear that is how the anti-corruption matter has been going on. It has been one-sided, not just for one-sided. The EFCC will not tell me that they will go after any corrupt public official without the nod of Mr. President or without the nod of people in government.
No, you know? Yes.
And even people who are very, very corrupt, who we know are very, very corrupt, are walking the street free because they have the backing of government. That's what it looks like. That's apparently what it is.
So what does this have on the image of the government, the present administration's anti-corruption fight? What do you think Nigerians perceive from the, like you said, the alleged one-sidedness of the anti-corruption fight by the present administration?
The anti-corruption battle is not about that it has failed. You know, when it started from the onset, when they started arresting judges and all that, we thought that this thing is going to go a little far. But we know that corruption has a way of fighting back. You know, within government itself, there are a lot of corrupt elements. So if you go after them in a very genuine manner, a lot of people, at least 99% of the government, will be in jail.
Okay.
The government in Nigeria now is run by corruption, and it has corruption as its very undercurrent policies. So it's going to be a bit difficult if you do it that way. But to fight corruption, you fight it genuinely. If your mother is involved, if your sister is involved, whoever is involved, to fight it proper, genuinely, and take it by the bull. Take the bull by the horns.
Now,
if you employ half measures,
yes.
If you employ half measures in fighting corruption, corruption will fight against you because almost every public official in Nigeria is corrupt. It's because the signals of the world are corrupt.
Okay, now before we let you go, we have talked with you extensively. Now, you said that the corruption is fighting back. What do you suggest should be done by the government? What should be done by the anti-graft agencies? We had some analysts claim that if there were more judges and more courts, more magistrates employed by the government to try these corrupt cases, that we would have more prosecutions. Do you agree with that supposition? If not, then what else do you think should be done in helping the government or enabling the government actually begin to win the war against corruption?
If you like, create a million courts. If the courts are not properly entrenched in anti-corruption measures and policies and dialectics, it will boil down to nothing. If you like, create a million anti-corruption agencies. It doesn't matter. What is important is the ones you have, strengthen them. Make EFCC a self-regulated body, ICTC. Get them to be independent in terms of their appointments. Get them to be independent in terms of autonomy, financial autonomy, in terms of their execution. That the EFCC in South Africa would tell this gentleman, the president, to refund the $100 million he put in his house. $100 million he put in his house, to return it immediately. That's the president that has immunity. You know?
Yes.
That we have an EFCC that can get to the top most government officials, arrest them, get them prosecuted.
But how would that be possible, Barrister? How is that possible when, with the most recent constitution amendments, that part of the constitution was not even looked at all? That part of the constitution was not even perused at all. How is it possible then that the EFCC and the ICPC and anti-graft agencies can be further strengthened?
No. They're really strengthened in the essence of the world. It's simply that in practice they are submerged by powers that be. They are usually submerged and they find it difficult to operate, to move, to do things. There's nothing in the book that says that the EFCC must contact the president or anybody in government before they go after a corrupt government official. There's nothing in the books that says that the approval of Mr. President should come in before somebody. Look, the whole thing is very, very clear. It's just like the court. What's important in the court is to give grant the judiciary some shade of independence over the political interference.
Okay.
And that is not happening. You know,
yes.
The same thing with EFCC and ICPC. Make them self-regulated, give them autonomy in terms of their operations, in terms of their finance, in terms of their appointments and promotions and discipline. You know,
yes.
Moving totally and completely from government interference, because government interference also means political interference, so that they can operate on their own.
All right then. Well, thank you ever so much. Yes. Thank you ever so much, Barrister Festus Obuche. He is a constitutional lawyer and analyst. Thank you so much for talking to us this afternoon.
Thank you.
All right then. Of course, like we did mention earlier, you are part of the conversation. Let's hear your thoughts on these recent revelations attributed to Abdul Rashid Maina, the wanted ex-chairman of the Presidential Task Force on Pension Reforms. Let's hear your thoughts. Do you agree with these suppositions? Of course, Barrister Festus Obuche had given us his opinions, but what about yours? Do you feel that these allegations have weight and should be investigated, or do you feel that these are just rantings of a drowning man clutching at straws? You can send your message inclusive of your name and location to 0701 933 9962. That's 0701 933 9962. Or better yet,
call us now on 0815-5951-951 or 0817-0000-951 and 0810-951-0951.
Hello, good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon. What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Onosho. I'm calling from Mabluma.
You're welcome. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Please, I want to ask you this question. Can corruption fight corruption?
Well, that is the slogan. It's a recent slogan being bandied about in Nigeria's anti-corruption fight.
Let me tell you something.
Yes.
Mr. President is not fighting any corruption because there's a lot of people in his cabinet, corrupt people. Rotimi Amechi, the state fire allegation on him. Mr. President refused to allow the state to probe him. The man looted his state money.
No, you don't say the president didn't allow him. The panel that was allegedly set up was deemed unconstitutional. That was what happened. It was deemed by a competent law of by law of court of competent jurisdiction.
Don't let us be beating around people. We know what is going on. Okay, why are they telling us that now? What is it? The guy has run away. Who brought?
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
About what Mr.
President you would do well not to cast aspersions or jump to conclusions. If you're not factual, certain sentiments that you might portray, it's not helpful. But thank you all the same for your opinion.
You are welcome, but I'm saying the truth.
All right, then. Of course, thank you very much for that. Let's see if we can take some more of your calls. Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What is your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Henry, and I'm calling from Bayelsa.
All right, Henry from Bayelsa. Your voice is sounding a bit muffled, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't make myself the
Henry, could you call us back? Because we can barely hear you. It's like you're talking from you're underwater. You sound like you're underwater right now.
Okay, with the mouth, but I'm driving.
No, you need to be very careful. You do not place calls and drive at the same time. I'll just you park and then call us.
Okay.
All right. Yes. Let's follow the right traffic rules. All right. 0701 933 9962. We are taking a look at the revelations made by Abdul Rashid Maina as regards to the true nature of amounts of money missing from the pension reforms, which of course a presidential task force was set up in 2010, which he chaired. And of course, based on the allegations made against him and the media trial that has of course faulted, the network seems to have been at fault there. 0701 933 9962 is the number for you to call. For those of you just joining us, embattled former chairman of the Pension Reform Task Team, Abdul Rashid Maina, said yesterday that he was being hunted for stopping 5.32 billion naira allegedly being stolen monthly in the office of the head of service and police pensions office. He also went to his media trial and allegations against him. Well, call us back when you can. Hello, good afternoon. All right, we seem to have lost that. Keep on sending those messages. Don't forget to include your name and location to 0701 933 9962. That's 0701 933 9962. Do you feel that Maina actually has, because they do say there's no smoke without fire, do you believe that these allegations being made by Maina, that truly indeed there are other people that are the true pension thieves, as he has, who know that he can expose them and they are doing all that they can to making sure he is unable to do so? Or do you feel that he's just doing or saying these things to save himself or buy himself a little time before he is finally made to face the wrath of the law? Let's hear your thoughts as you are part of the conversation. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, your name and where you're calling from, please.
Eric from Port Harcourt.
All right, Eric, you are welcome. Go ahead, please.
Thank you.
Let me start with a question. If MENA names his collaborators or highly placed persons from wherever he is now, will heaven fall? Wherever he thinks he's speaking from and alleging all these things, if he names those persons from wherever he is now, will heaven fall?
Good question.
If he shows those evidences from wherever he is from, will we not investigate? Will we not find out? If he thinks that he is as white as snow, it's others that are as black as charcoal, why don't he come out, walk straight to the police and surrender himself? Will the police kill him?
Oh, he says he fears for his life.
Well, look, he has police protection already, and let him write from wherever he is or send text messages and forward it to all of us that I'm so place, I'm ready to come out, and this is what I want to say, and we'll guarantee him protection from wherever, and let him come and steal that thing. The real truth is that himself is not clean. If he has been working in a place that is shrouded with corruption, and he has been there, look, let me tell you, sympathy to crime is connivance too in law. So if he has been working there and covering them, that is a crime on its own, and he needs to be nailed even for that alone. So he cannot tell us that he's the only saint that works there.
All right then.
So the corruption that we are looking at is huge, we know. But my worry is that if the president fails in this regard, because I can excuse him personally, if he fails in any other thing, maybe in economy, in employment and this, but if he fails in this very war, fight against corruption, then it means that the corruption which he told us will fight back and finish this nation will come to pass.
But a lot of people believe that he is winning because of the recent judgment, of course, the recent sacking of Babachir Lawal and Ayoke.
Others too believe that that is just the tip of the iceberg. More to come. Look, let us fight this thing to a standstill, and then we'll give the president kudos.
All right,
for
then.
Now, a lot of revelations are pointing to the contrary. And we need to see this fought and won, and then Nigeria will become a safe haven for us all. Thank you, and God bless you.
Bless you. All right, thank you very much, Eric, for your thoughts on that issue. Let's see if we can take some of your messages. This is coming in from Sylvanus Wosu from Igurutali. He says, good day, Eric. I want to ask the lawyer whether the president has the constitutional powers to order the EFCC to go after any corrupt person. Unfortunately, that was a phone conversation we were having with Barrister Festus Ogbuche. Toby from Bayelsa says the MENA issue is just one of those issues like the embattled director of the NIA, the GMD of the NNPC, Ikoyi Gate, and the Babachir Lawal case, which has been swept under the carpet. That is why I keep on saying the fight against corruption is yet to start, since it does not start from the president's appointees. Nigeria is like the biblical Jericho, which required rebuilding, so all hands must be on deck to salvage it. My advice to the president is that those who looted the public funds and defected to another party should also be prosecuted. This is coming in from Amos in Port Harcourt saying, good day, presenter. Nigeria is a funny country. Where are the DSS, police, civil defense, and etc. when MENA escaped? They should stop deceiving us and keep stealing the public funds. When the saint comes to beam, the light will shine on them. Nigerians, okay, you are alleging that the president said Nigerians are thieves while he was in London. I do not think that's exactly how he put it. So let's try not to misquote the president at any juncture. This is coming in from Obumeneke Sunday Ibadan, a political science student of Ignatius Ajuri University of Education. He says, good afternoon, presenter. I think MENA should be arrested so that those involved will also be exposed, and the matter should be properly followed up by the federal government. It is 15 minutes to the top of the hour. This is coming from Sunday in Elelewon saying, good day, Eric. MENA's statement of revelations to me is a defensive mechanism, which means that he is guilty of the allegations leveled against him. Now MENA is missing. Nigeria has been made a laughingstock by this occurrence. No sincerity in the so-called fight against corruption. Simple. Our leaders are highly corrupt. God bless Nigeria. Let's see if we can take some of your calls this afternoon. You know the requisite numbers. Better yet, send that message. And don't forget to include your name and location. Some more of your messages that we have been receiving. This one is coming in from Kingsley Nyobana. He says, to me, Maina should be arrested so that others would be arrested as well. Thank God for President Muhammadu Buhari and the All Progressives Congress. All this would have been carry go as usual. The APC has woken Nigerian up from its sleep. God will keep the APC and the president for my country to move forward. All right, thank you very much. While this is coming in from YB in Port Harcourt saying, presenter, please tell Maina to present the documents in his possession to the press and stop deceiving Nigerians. This is coming in from Joshua Danjuma in Port Harcourt saying, good evening, all right, good afternoon, Joshua. We are running a government of corrupt people, by the corrupt people and for the people. So there's no way we can fight corruption. I do not think that is, I don't think that's how it's meant to be. But thank you very much for your thoughts, Joshua. A bit on the hilarious side, a bit of humor there, but of course there's nothing funny about what is going on. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. What is your name and where are you calling from? Please, I'll need you to speak up. We can barely hear you.
Yes, I told you to Okwandu.
All right, Okwandu Obina, you are welcome. Go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you. I say that Maina may be saying the truth.
Maina may be saying the truth.
Yes.
Okay.
But I am not happy about what he's saying. Why is he still not exposing those people he said that are the original leaders of our pension fund? I think it is high time he shut his mouth up and come up with the real facts and figures of people who are responsible for stealing the pension money as they are alleging. That would have been better than all this is hiding. I don't even know where he is hiding.
No one knows at the moment. No one knows. Even though, yes, there are indications that his media aide made the statement in Kaduna, but we can't ascertain if that is where Maina is at the moment.
Okay, the statement was made by his media aide.
Yes.
I think for me, it could have been better for him and better for Nigerians if he comes up and gives us the list of the people he's talking about.
Okay.
Because the figure that could have been better than this hide and seek attitude that he's teaching.
All right then.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your thoughts, Okwandu Obinna. 11 minutes to the top of the hour. We are still expecting to hear from you as you are still part of the conversation this afternoon. This one reads, can't the president order for the arrest of Abdul Rashid Maina? And this is coming from Albert Tamunokuro from Okrika. Well, of course he can, but then the security agent, the anti-graft agencies seem to be at a loss as to where to begin to search for Maina. That's just the thing. Of course, this is coming in from Davies in Port Harcourt saying, Eric, please, all these allegations against Maina was committed in the... Did all these allegations against Maina were they committed in this present administration or the past administration? Why are they blaming this present government? All right, that's of course a very good question there. But you should understand that corruption yesterday, corruption today, it's still corruption. And even if the former administration was not able to fight it, that is what the present administration is trying to do. So that's where the connection is. Trying to do what the former administration was unable to. This is coming in from Ikioma Victor in Port Harcourt saying, Eric, Maina is not alone in this. Criminals who lay hands on government money know how to rope those in leadership positions and drag them into the mire of corruption. Do not be surprised. Some in power right now might have been sponsored by the thieves in question during the last general elections. Some corrupt governors did. All right, Akioma, let's not venture into speculation. That never helps anyone in any manner. But thank you all the same for your message. This is coming in from Comrade Chibike Igberi from Ozuaba saying, Eric, Happy New Month. Okay, Happy New Month to you too. For me, the ideology of corruption, the fight against corruption in our country would continue to be a fantasy because corruption is inherent and intrinsic in human beings. So if actually corruption is fought, then we must start from the head down to the tail. Meina's saga would implicate a lot of hyenas and jackals under this present administration. If only he will be given adequate fair hearing for more revelations. The president should expedite action in order to weed out these rotten eggs in our society and to forestall further reoccurrence. However, the doctrine of the rule of law should be invoked so it cannot be tagged as a witch hunt. Let's see if we can take some more of your calls. The requisite numbers remain the same, or better yet, you can send your messages inclusive of your name and location to 0701 933 9962. That's 0701 933 9962. Better yet,
call us now on 0815 5951 951 or 0817 0000 951 and 0810 9510 951.
8 minutes before we draw curtains on today's edition of the program. So if you have not joined us, or if you've not contributed, I suggest you do so. It would not be complete without your views. Hello, good afternoon.
Eric,
yes.
Punishing us. Don't do us like
I do not.
Anything to call you.
Yes.
You are repeating the.
No, it's the network. Trust me, it's the net. There's no way. I'm actually looking forward. I'm actually looking forward to receiving your calls. Why would I reject them? Your name and where you're calling from, please.
This is IB calling from Abua.
IB from Abua. You are welcome. Go ahead. Finally, you are here. So go on.
The issue of Mena. Want to reveal, he's bringing revelation, or he's making an attempt to make a revelation. I don't even understand it. This Mena of a person is being prosecuted by former President Goodluck Jonathan. Everybody should be well aware of this. It is this administration that went and bring this maggot inside this administration to tell us that they are not fighting corruption. What revelation is this telling us? Has he come to clear himself of the allegation that he paid almost about 700,000 naira as bail in court? Why Nigerians are like this? What revelation is he making? No revelation that he will make now that will hold water. It will not hold water because he has not cleared himself. This was a person that was granted bail in court and he put on his back pocket and paid the money instantly. Come and clear yourself on all these allegations. You are coming here to tell us cock and book story that we want to make revelation. What kind of revelation are you making? And you are invited to tell us. See, this present administration is under vendetta. They are just fighting to their opposition. They are not fighting any corruption. Okay, now the head of statistics is telling us that President Muhammadu Buhari knows how may not come into this president.
Oh no, that is an allegation. It has not yet been.
No. The head of
service.
He said it openly in a newspaper.
No, of course.
President Muhammadu Buhari, he knows.
And what has there been any corroboration of this on the part of the presidency?
And the president came silent. You know what happened today? There was a mad drama on the Executive Council meeting. There was a mad drama there. You are in the media. You ought to tell me this. I'm the one telling you this.
Of course, that is not our focus for this afternoon. So yes, we would not want to. Yes.
To tell you the gospel truth, this present administration, they are not fighting corruption, but rather they are condoning corruption.
All right then.
So to bring Mena, if the EFCC boss could be alleged to be corrupt, and nobody is asking questions, and may not come into this country, and the EFCC boss who declared him wanted is telling us that he doesn't know the whereabouts of Mena. This is a pure sham to Nigerians, and Nigerians will wake up.
All right, thank you very much, IB. Yes, of course, in as much as we are all entitled to our opinions, let's try as much as we can to stick to facts. Let's not hinge too much on allegations made until, of course, they can be corroborated. So let's toe the path of being cautious about making such mistakes. All right, allegations in whatever that's found in newspapers, until it is corroborated. Basically, what you find in newspapers, you cannot substitute that with fact. At least not all stories that you find in the national dailies. All right, so we will be taking some more of your messages at this point in time while we wait for the next call to come through. This is Peter from Oyigbo. Says, Eric, greetings. Did I hear you say Mena has escaped again? If yes, then wonderful. I do not see how that is wonderful, but thank you very much, Peter, for that. This is Faith from Omoku saying corruption has become the dividend of democracy to the people of Rivers State. Okay, now this is not what we're talking about, even though, yes, this is something that we should be taking a look at in a subsequent edition of the program. But of course, we have a topic that we are taking a look at today, and we would not want to digress. This is Master David Akani in Rumekini saying, good day, Mr. Eric. Nigeria does not believe in hit and run. Nigeria does not believe in faceless speaker, and Nigeria does not believe in propaganda or false alarms raised by Mena. He does not have any evidence to prove his alarm. If he has, he should come out with his evidence, and the EFCC will go after them based on Mena's evidence. All right, thank you very much, Master David. Can you make it sound also simple? This is coming in from... okay, Johnson, I got your name from your previous message sent with the same number, and you were saying, good afternoon, Eric. Tell the... okay, this was actually something that came up hours after the that particular time of our broadcast. This is Inze Okonkwo saying, good day, Eric. Of course, sending this one from Port Harcourt, saying, good day, Eric. The story of Mena and pension scam is a blockbuster. Mena Gate, a publication in the Nation newspaper of Sunday, the 29th of October, revealed mind-boggling figures of 400 billion naira as the amount taken by Mena and shared amongst government officials, including security agencies. All this took place during the last administration. But what is baffling is why the present government is pussyfooting over his arrest and trial. Mena is the worst anti-corruption test for this administration. And of course, last but not least, Mena is a joker. He simply wants to play the spoiler. Sympathy to crime is connivance in law. If he is innocent or whiter than snow, how did he come about the 6 big houses in highbrow areas recently sealed off by the EFCC? His stories are too many and bogus. He is not alone. Let the law take its natural course. Eric sending that one from Port Harcourt. And of course, on that note, we have to draw curtains on today's edition of the program. I would like to thank Barrister Festus Obuche, the constitutional lawyer and analyst who was able to talk to us this afternoon. I'd also like to thank all those of you who called in, those of you who are still calling in, thank you as well. Those of you who sent in your messages, those who are yet to sending messages, and those whose messages we, for one reason or the other, and basically because of time, we could not read. Thank you all the same. I'd also like to thank Mr. Ben Lawson for his invaluable contributions to today's edition of the program. Join me tomorrow, same time, same station, God willing, where we'll be taking a look at another trending issue, another burning topic. We will talk to the experts. We will talk to the stakeholders. We would make the attempt to talk to those directly or indirectly involved in whatever it is we're talking about. And most importantly, we will talk to you, because you are also directly and sometimes indirectly involved or affected by whatever it is we are discussing on a daily basis. Stay tuned for the news update at the top of the hour. It has been today's hustle on Today 95.1 FM.
Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today 95.1 FM. The voice of the people. Every day, every hour, when the big stories break, depend on our 24-hour news team to bring you the latest. Today 95.1 FM.
Today 95.1 FM. Port Harcourt. News update.
Good afternoon. Here is the news update on Today 95.1 FM. I am Eric Baroni. The River State chapter of the All Progressives Congress has welcomed the decisions of the National Executive Committee of the party during its meeting in Abuja yesterday. State Publicity Secretary of the APC, Chris Finebone, particularly underscored the fact that the NEC meeting did not consider a second-term endorsement for President Muhammadu Buhari in its agenda. In a statement obtained by our correspondent, Finebone said it would have amounted to putting the cart before the horse if the NEC meeting had considered a second-term endorsement for the president. Finebone noted that the APC NEC is made up of reputable and experienced politicians who know the implications of every bit of decision that is made or not made at such a meeting. The clamour for the establishment of what is to be known as Southeast Development Commission reverberated in the Senate today. This followed considerations of the signing of the Northeast Development Commission bill into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. The Senate took note that the NEDC bill, which was passed by the National Assembly, got the assent of the President on the 26th of October 2016. Speaking on a motion sponsored by Senator Danjuma Goje, the Senate leader, Senator Ahmed Lawal, expressed the hope that the Northeast Development Commission would end the huge humanitarian crisis in the region. In his remarks, Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu said the expectation of the Senate is that the Commission would translate into a better life for people of the Northeast. It was on that same basis that Senator James Managa from Delta North called on the Senate to speedily work on the Southeast Development Commission bill to bring development to people of the geopolitical zone. Senator Managa complained that the Southeast had been left behind in terms of development, which makes a development commission necessary for the region.
That region needs very urgent federal attention. If for any reason road contracts have been awarded and nothing has been done, something must be done in the Southeast, because I have seen that all the federal roads have collapsed. All the federal roads have collapsed, and therefore Southeast Development Bill that we passed, we read on the floor of this Senate must be worked upon expeditiously, just like the Northeast Development Bill.
Former Minister of Petroleum Resources Daisani Alison Madueke has lost her bid to have the federal government facilitate her repatriation from the United Kingdom. Alison Madueke is wanted in Nigeria in connection with alleged money laundering involving 450 million naira, but Justice Rilwan Aikawa of the Federal High Court sitting in Lagos ruled that her request was misconceived and a misuse of court process. Justice Aikawa upheld the argument of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission EFCC, adding that Alison Madueke had not been listed as a defendant in the case. The court also acknowledged that the former petroleum minister was currently on bail in the UK for several financial crimes investigations, and her bid for repatriation to Nigeria could be a ploy to escape justice. The Department of State Services, DSS, has produced former National Security Advisor, retired Colonel Sambu Dasuki, in court to testify in the corruption trial of former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Olisa Metu. The failure to produce Dasuki had stalled the trial before the Federal High Court in Abuja, following which Justice Okon Abang adjourned the case by 1 day to enable the DSS comply with the subpoena. Dasuki had, through his lawyer Ahmed Raji, also asked for a stay of proceedings on the matter pending the determination of a motion before the Court of Appeal. Former President Goodluck Jonathan, who was also subpoenaed by court, has, through his counsel, Chief Michael Zekome, applied to set aside the court order. And finally, 8 people have now been confirmed dead in what appears to be a terror attack in Lower Manhattan area of New York. The police commissioner, James O'Neill, said 6 victims were pronounced dead at the scene and 2 more at a nearby hospital. The casualties include 5 friends from Argentina who were visiting New York to celebrate the 30th anniversary of their high school graduation. Belgium's foreign minister has also confirmed that a Belgian citizen was amongst those killed by the truck driver who rammed into people on a cycle path. Report says the 29-year 29-year-old Uzbek immigrant who was behind the wheel was shot and injured by police as he left the vehicle. President Donald Trump has ordered the Department of Homeland Security to step up vetting measures in the wake of the attack. Officials are treating the incident as a terror attack, which is also the deadliest in the city since the September 11 attacks. And that's the news update at 3 o'clock on your premium talk news and sports radio, Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt, voice of the people. Join us at 4 o'clock for more news updates. Thanks for listening and good afternoon.
Today's news, today's entertainment, today's sports, today's issues. Today on Today 95.1 FM, Port Harcourt. Port Harcourt, are you ready? Today 95.1 FM, the voice of the people.
By the way, did I tell you Messi scored on his return from retirement? Okay, I just did. My name is Chibogwu Nadia Blum, and I've got, as always, intelligent analysts in the studio to do the business with me. Hello, Zazie Bariza. How are you doing?
Perfect strategy, and of course, go into that game. First half ended.
Ghana man Victor Kwame Sampong is his name. His Ghanaian team did not deliver on Friday. We'll be supporting Nigeria, his second team today. Ghana man, good afternoon.
I'm saying it because I've seen him play. Don't go abroad. That's not it.
These boys had a whole lot of talent in them, but then circumstances, situations, and of course, yes, Nigeria don't like him, but I think he has actually sold himself with the number of goals he got himself. Talking about Sadiq Kumar.
We call him IK for short. IK, good afternoon.
Erica, good afternoon.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
How has our forward line fared? Opportunity for Nigeria. It's a goal! No. How did you miss that goal?
Join Emeka, Chibogu, Zazie, IK, Sami, TJ, and Emmanuel on this frequency.
It's a pleasure doing this with you. My name is TJ, and on the show today,
Mondays to Fridays, 7:30 to 8 a.m. Sports Attack. 3 to 4 p.m. Today's Sports Live. Saturday and Sunday, 1 to 6 p.m.
Welcome. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yes, my name is Scott Beto, but I'm calling from...
Today 95.1 FM is the station.
You know, there are a few areas that define a man, like sports.
I think we can live with that.
All right, a very good afternoon to you all out there, and welcome to yet another exciting edition of today's Sports Live, reaching you from your premium news, talk, and sports radio station. Today, 95.1 FM, right here in Port Harcourt. Meka Jena is my name, and on the show this afternoon, we will bring you up to speed with the latest happening in faraway France as world number one, Rafael Nadal is on court at the Paris Masters. We'll also land in Enugu because more appointments are being made by former Nigeria Professional Football League champions Rangers International as they are looking to bounce back in style ahead of next season. In Europe, we'll bring you in-depth analysis of action that was witnessed last night in the UEFA Champions League as we also preview tonight's encounters. Talking about last night's encounters, I mean, it wasn't rosy at all for the Chelsea team there, yes, and for their fans. Thrashing they were handed by AS Roma. I don't know whether any of you expected that. Quite disappointing performance there from the Blues. 3-0 they lost to Roma in Italy. If only Atletico Madrid had won, maybe somehow they have been battling to even qualify from that group. But be that as it may, all that will be coming your way on the show, plus all the matches to be expected tonight in the ever-exciting UEFA Champions League. I'm not alone in the studio this afternoon to do the talking. There's Samuel Omainekun in the building. Sammy, a very good afternoon to you. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mika. It's always wonderful doing this with you. Yes, now we're going to talk about the Champions League, and of course that man, Ogunbote, he's just signed for Rangers. Lots of things. What should we expect? What brand does he bring? What exactly are the board looking forward to? All of that on the show.
All right. Apart from Ogunbote signing for Rangers, there's another big fish that also signed for Rangers. Not as a player, not as a goalkeeper, but as an administrator. We'll tell you more about that on the show. But of course, Zazie Bariza, the soft-spoken one, is in the building.
Good afternoon, Emeka. Always a delight doing this with you.
Rose Collette is also in the building. She's back from her injury layoff. Rose, where did you go to?
I'm fine, thank you. Good afternoon, Emeka. Good afternoon to all our listeners out there.
Where you go?
I just had to travel for a few things.
It's okay. It's okay. Good to have you back on the show. And of course, for you out there, you know the show is incomplete without you. We want you to be part of the discussion here. You can do that via making use of our various feedback platforms. SMS and WhatsApp, the share the same number 070-19339962. That's 070-19339962 for your text as well as your WhatsApp messages sent to that number. On Twitter, we are Today FM 951 at Today FM 951. You can equally tweet at me at Emeka Dina, and your thoughts will be read real time here on the show. Later on, the phone lines will be thrown wide open in due time. Yes, for you to air your opinions live on the show. Yes, we'll be handing over the microphone to you at some point. So do well to be a part of the party here. We'll be right back to unfold the details after this time out. All right, let's begin the show this afternoon from the world of tennis, where Rafael Nadal has said that he's ready to consolidate his year-end world number 1 ATP ranking by winning his opening match at the Paris Masters, which is underway. Nadal, who reclaimed the top ranking in August for the first time in 3 years, is currently on court against South Korea's Hyun Chung, who on Monday defeated Nomischa Verev in straight sets to secure a second round clash with the Spaniard. Nadal is on court at the moment. Zazie.
Well, he's on court against Hyun Chung, the man who was responsible for the ouster of Misha Verev from this particular competition, and they are still in the first set. Nadal leading that one 3-2 in the first set of that particular one. He seems to be ready to make a break out there because he's leading this particular game 40-15, and it's the Chinese that is 7. The Korean rather, that is 7. But Nadal really leading in that particular game. So
he's taking it already 4-2 now.
Okay, yeah, it's 4-2 already, 4-2, and he's leading in his own serve right now, exactly. 15 love at this time. So that has been decided. There are other games that are ongoing as I speak with you, Emeka. Fernando Verdasco, he lost the first set to the South African Kevin Anderson 7-5, but he's leading in the second 2-1. He's leading right there. Another game that is ongoing in the third set as I speak with you is the one between Pablo Cuevas and of course Albert Ramos. Albert Ramos took the first set 7-6. Pablo came back in the second to win 7-6. Also an identical score there, and of course in the third set it's in Pablo's favor, leading Albert Ramos 4-2. But apart from the ongoing games, there are games that have been decided. The one between Feliciano Lopez and Lucas Puig was decided in straight sets. Lucas Puig winning that one 6-3, 6-4, looking very easy for him. And of course, John Isner was able to defeat Diego Schwartzman in 3 sets, 7-6, 6-7, 6-3. 3 sets, he was able to win that one. The one that came as an upset today, it's sort of an upset, was the ouster of Alex Zverev. I told you earlier that his older brother was ousted from this competition by Rafael Nadal's opponent today. And of course, he has been booted out of this particular one by Rubin Haas. Of course, he lost that one 6-3, 6-2, 6-2. He actually took the first set and capitulated to, lose the last 2 sets. And of course, that was the end of the road for him in the Paris Masters.
Does that really represent an upset? Of course, we know that man is precociously talented. Talking about Alexander Zverev. But, I mean, beaten by an old warhorse today in Robin Haas. What do you make of that defeat for Zverev?
No, I call it an upset because we are talking about Robin Haas, an old warhorse. He's much like Coach Shelba, who has been in the business all the while, but has nothing to show for it. So we are talking about an Alex Zverev, who presently is a world number 4. Very talented, no doubt. He's won lots of trophies this season already. No Grand Slam, no doubt. But his own titles, he's been able to win them. And for him to crash out at this point, I think it should be called an upset.
Okay, so Sammy, let's talk about Rafael Nadal. He wants to end the year as world number 1. He's on course at the moment. Of course, a win today over the Korean will guarantee him the year-end world number 1 ranking. He leads 4-2 in the first set. Check that, maybe it would have gone to 5-2 now.
It's 5-2.
It's 5-2 now, okay. It's 5-2. I mean, one more game, he wins the first set. But of course, if he wins this match today, he will end the year as world number 1. Anything stopping him?
There's no doubt in my mind. Only one thing could stop him, probably injuries. Maybe he pulls his hamstring, twists his wrist. Apart from that, nothing could stop this man. He came into this one knowing that all he needs is just a victory. And when you compare pedigree of both players, it's not comparable. You can't compare his opponent to him. Rafael Nadal has so many Grand Slam titles, French Open, 10 of those, and the rest of it. So for Rafael Nadal, I think it would be fantastic for this man to end the season as world number 1, considering where he's come from.
Wrote him off.
Exactly.
Federer, they were written off by a lot of followers of the game.
Exactly. Now looking at where he was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, how many injuries he suffered, reoccurring injuries.
Earlier
down.
this year,
that's what I'm saying. 3 years ago, up to this point.
Number 17.
Exactly. So you just see, at a point, he and Federer were not even in the top 10 for the first time in so long.
Exactly.
So for this man, I think it would be fantastic for him, finishing as world number 1, heading into the next season. And I like the way he's been able to do it. He's not stressed himself in the process whereby he plays every tournament, and then you expect that, okay, when his Australian Open started and he starts wearing off, the way he is now, I still see him being fit enough to even keep it up. So for me, he wins this game, he clinches world number 1, well deserved.
All right. Before we leave tennis, we know that Novak Djokovic, former world number 1, 12-time Grand Slam champion, has been out with injury for some time now. But he has announced his return to the sport with that world championship out there in Abu Dhabi, or even is it Dubai, Abu Dhabi? Exhibition game in December. We have Stan Wawrinka also out, Milos Raonic out for some time. Some of these big guns will be coming back ahead of next season. And you want to look at what Nadal and Federer has done this year. The first slams this year, both of them shared it 2 apiece. Going into next year, what sort of competition do you expect in tennis as far as the men's game is concerned?
Emeka, really, you can't tell. You can't tell because coming into this year, if we were told that it would be between Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer,
nobody would believe that.
Nobody would believe.
They will laugh you off and they say you're not serious.
Absolutely, because Roger Federer was coming in from a 6-month layoff. Rafael Nadal himself was having his own injury issues last year as well, and of course he wasn't on form. So you can't rule out the possibilities of a certain Andy Murray or Novak Djokovic coming back and of course taking the world by storm. As a matter of fact, right now, a certain man that is very well talented, Nick Kyrgios, has stated today that he wants to be world number 1 and he wants to take his tennis seriously. So you never can tell.
So he will not be abandoning games any further.
Absolutely. So, and we all know what this man brings to the table when he is in terms of talent, in terms of ability.
He's a great guy. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we never can tell what next year will bring.
All right. So wait and see. Since we can't tell, we'll just wait and see. Keep our fingers crossed. But of course, the big guns will be coming back next year. And Murray, Novak Djokovic, and of course Milos Raonic, Stan Wawrinka as well. They will be bouncing back early next year, especially at the Australian Open, the first Grand Slam of the year in January. But before that, Nadal should enjoy his moment. Federer is not even playing the Paris Masters. He wants to rest ahead of the ATP World Tour finals. Let's switch our attention to football this afternoon. I will start from the flying antelopes because we understand that Davinson Owumi, remember him? Okada Air in his playing days, Davis Owumi has been named again as chief executive of Rangers. Owumi will now succeed Christian Chukwu, the chairman who was relieved of his job at the close of last season. This comes as a part of the restructuring of the football club that has seen Benga Ogumbote moving as technical advisor. And for the records, earlier today, Ogumbote was unveiled officially, yes, as the new technical advisor of Rangers. We told you that yesterday. Of course, that has been made official today. I spoke with him before we came into the studio, still trying to do one or two formalities. But of course, Ogumbote, technical advisor. Davidson Uwumizazi is now the new general manager. Call him chairman or general manager or chief executive. Rangers, they have a way of bringing out so many nomenclatures when it comes to all those appointments. But having said that, Uwumi has been there before as general manager of this side, no doubt. But of course, he's back.
In some places, you see chief executive officer. That's what he is at the club. But whatever it is, there is no doubt about the ability of this man. He's a seasoned sports football administrator, we must say. This is not one of those political appointments.
Not at all.
I think they went for someone they believe can do the job. We all saw him with Rangers before. He's been at Warri Wolves before.
Sure.
As a matter of fact, it was when he left Warri Wolves that this whole issue
trouble started.
Came up. I remember that one. Left, and the season after